The day the iron gates closed behind her for the last time, Ilaria Moore stood trembling on the cracked sidewalk with a cardboard box in her hands, 20 years of silence still ringing in her ears, and a single thought pounding in her chest about the small house she had not seen since another lifetime. She had been told it was empty, abandoned, stripped of memories like everything else she had lost, yet as she turned the key and pushed the door open, the sound she heard from inside made her heart seize, because something was there, something alive, something that should not have been waiting after all this time, and whatever it was would change everything she believed about loss, forgiveness, and being forgotten. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unseen bonds that never break, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Kind Vibes, right now, because stories like this remind us why compassion still matters in a broken world. Ilaria had entered prison at 47, carrying the weight of a mistake that grew out of desperation, grief, and one wrong decision made on a night when the power had gone out and fear had rushed in. She left at 67, her hair silver and thin, her hands knotted with age and regret, and her name forgotten by nearly everyone who once knew it. During those 20 years, the world had moved forward without her. Streets changed names, shops closed, neighbors disappeared, and letters stopped arriving long before the seasons stopped meaning anything. The only thing that remained unchanged was the ache inside her chest, the memory of a small living room filled with sunlight, and the last promise she made before the cell door slammed shut. She told herself she had no right to expect anything from that house anymore, yet her feet carried her there anyway, guided by a hope she tried to crush every step of the way. The house stood crooked at the end of the lane, its paint peeled and its garden swallowed by weeds, but it was still standing, and that alone felt like mercy. Ilaria paused on the threshold, bracing herself for emptiness, for dust, for the final proof that her past had truly died. Instead, she felt warmth, and then she heard it again, a low, familiar sound that cut through her like a blade and stitched her back together all at once. Her breath caught, her knees weakened, and the box slipped from her hands as she stepped inside, blinking against tears she had trained herself not to shed for decades. The living room was dim, but not abandoned. A blanket lay folded near the couch, a water bowl sat by the wall, and in the center of the room, rising slowly as if time itself had been waiting for this moment, was a dog with clouded eyes, a graying muzzle, and a scar on one ear that Ilaria could never forget. The shock of it froze her in place, because this was not just any animal left behind by chance. This was Rowan, the stray she rescued on the worst night of her life, the dog she fed with trembling hands while sirens wailed outside, the dog she whispered to as officers led her away. She had begged the neighbors to take him, and someone must have, but seeing him here now, alive and waiting, felt impossible, like the universe bending itself just to test her heart. Time seemed to collapse as Ilaria took in the slow wag of Rowan's tail, the careful way he leaned forward as if confirming she was real. 20 years had aged them both, carving lines into faces that once knew laughter, but recognition passed between them without effort. In prison, Ilaria had learned how to survive without hope. She woke, worked, slept, and repeated the cycle, counting days only to stop counting altogether. Nights were the hardest, filled with memories she could not outrun, including the weight of Rowan's head on her knee and the quiet comfort of another heartbeat nearby. She had assumed those memories were a cruelty, something to endure, never to reclaim. Yet here they were, standing in the same room, breathing the same air, bound by loyalty that had outlasted concrete walls and locked doors. As Ilaria moved through the house, she noticed signs of care everywhere. Fresh food in the cupboard, medicine bottles neatly arranged, a calendar marked with dates she recognized as vet visits. Someone had been coming, quietly preserving a life she thought was lost. Later she would learn it was a woman named Maribel, a former neighbor who never believed Ilaria was beyond redemption and who took it upon herself to look after Rowan all these years, keeping the house intact in case its owner ever returned. But in that moment, all Ilaria felt was the slow thawing of a soul that had been frozen by shame and isolation. The days that followed were not easy. Ilaria struggled to adjust to freedom, to technology she did not understand, to a society that looked through her as if she were invisible. Jobs turned her away, old acquaintances crossed the street to avoid her, and nights brought back the echo of prison doors. Yet every morning, Rowan was there, waiting, reminding her that presence itself could be a form of forgiveness. Caring for him gave her purpose, a reason to wake up, to step outside, to let the sun touch her face without fear. Word spread slowly, as it always does in small towns, and people began to notice the old woman walking a gray dog at dawn, her posture straighter each day. A local bakery offered her work sweeping floors. A child left biscuits on her porch for Rowan. None of it erased the past, but it softened the edges, proving that life after punishment was still life. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like and share this video, because every interaction helps stories of hope reach someone who might desperately need it today. And before the ending, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below with one word that describes what second chances mean to you.